Hello Flosstube, it's Lori of MischievousStitches. I want to welcome everyone to my channel this weekend. I'm very glad that you dropped by to visit with me today. This past week, I've gotten a couple of patterns in the mail. I've made a few purchases. I've attended a stitch and I've went on vacation. I've also done a little gardening, so I want to tell you all about it. So this past week, I've continued to work on one of my current pieces, which is the Reflecs Soie piece. And I've converted it to reds and orangey reds. And I got just a very little start on this one because I made a new start this week. But this is where I am on that piece. I apologize for not ironing her up and making her a little more presentable than she is. But I got a little more done on the second border, and that was it. So not many stitches here. When I last filmed, I filmed on a Saturday. And then on Sunday, my husband and I left on vacation. So on the way down, I wanted to start a new piece that I shared in my last video. And I'm going to bring that out and show you now. So I was starting it, I didn't put a lot of thought into it. This is an old piece called Ship of Life, and it's by the Needlework company. And they give you two options with the colors. Different fabrics, a little darker tones in some of the colors, and I'm doing the darker tones, the more earthy tones. So I started, of course, on this side to work my way over with the lighthouse. And then, of course, on my vacation, I toured a lighthouse. So I pulled everything that I started stitching on the way down to St. Augustine, and I'm going to convert it, and I'm beginning to convert it already, to the colors of the lighthouse in St. Augustine. So I'm going to share that with you. So this past week, I pretty much worked on this piece. And you can see I have the top of the lighthouse, and you can probably see the distorted stitches there beneath the topping or the top of the lighthouse, because I had already stitched some of the stripes for this lighthouse. And then I realized I don't want to do that. I want to make this a piece to mimic some of the same things that I saw this week, to remember the vacation by. So this is the piece, and this is where I got. Now, I don't think I read the words last week, so I'm going to read them to you now, because I've been trying to focus on the wording, and that way I can get the placement of the ocean all the way across. But it says, the great ship of life, gliding over the sea of time, bound to the shore of eternity, her anchor cast on the rock of ages. So all that wording there, and it gives you the template for doing the year, which this was 1990, and initials. So I'm going to change that to, of course, my husband and my initials. And somewhere in there, I want to work in St. Augustine, Florida, and the month that we traveled there. The lighthouse in St. Augustine, where this one has the red and white stripes and a black top. The St. Augustine lighthouse is on red on the top, and it has the black and white swirls going down. It's swirled going down. So I've already replaced the red top. And on the bottom, it's actually, it's a little different than this, but I'm not going to change it too much. But I've outlined the doorway in red. And of course, it's on the sea. Now this also, there's another change I'm going to make. As you can see here, you can see maybe the a whale rising above the waves and see his tail. And we took a scenic cruise out on Lake Matanzas, which is right off the coast of St. Augustine. And I got to see dolphins feeding in a school of fish. I'd never seen dolphins in the wild, only on TV. It was amazing to me. The cruise that we were on, we were able to stop, and he turned the boat off so that we could not only see them, but hear them splash in the water. And it seemed like for every one I saw, there was one beside it, like they were a pair. So as one lifted above the wave to swim back down, there was another coming up beside it. It was just amazing. They were popping out of the water, catching the fish. There were birds that were actually feeding in with them in between because the dolphins were stirring up that school of fish. It was just amazing. So again, to commemorate that trip, I think there are whales in that area, but I think because I actually saw those dolphins, I'm going to try to change that up and do 2 dolphins in 2 different varying shades of gray, so I can distinguish that there's 2 and put them rising above instead of doing the whale and the tail. So but I may put the tail for the whale on the other side, but we'll see. So that'll be an ongoing process with that piece. And just to tell you about the time, my husband and I drove down last Sunday on Mother's Day, and we were there through Thursday. I just had an amazing time. The first day we took a trolley a lot, and thank you for all of those that live in the area or have visited that area often. I was reading your comments. They did direct us to some amazing places. A lot of you reached out and said, take the trolley. So we took the trolley, and because it's a historic area, the roads are very narrow, the parking is very limited. Some of the roads are actually brick instead of asphalt. Some are concrete. It's a beautiful place, but like I said, because of the historic and the narrow streets, it's better to take the trolley. So the trolley hits somewhere a little over 20 stops, and we got on the trolley first thing in the morning, and we took it through the downtown area, which shows you all the hot spots where people want to visit, want to tour, want to take photo ops there. And we got a feel for the layout of the city. And you can stay with the trolley all through the day with your ticket, so you can get on and off. There's a winery, there's a distillery, there is a national monument, there's the Fountain of Youth, there's a Bridge of Lions that goes over to Anastasia Island. There is Flagler College, which is beautiful. It used to be a hotel. Just so many different things to see. It's not, I would say, it's more for people of my age. There's things for everyone to do, don't get me wrong, but I enjoy seeing the architecture. I enjoy being near the ocean and feeling the breeze. I enjoy visiting historic places. There's a church down there. It's a mission number 10 is how it translates. And where the Spanish first come onto the land there in Florida, they erected a cross at the place that the first mass was held. And you're able to go onto the church property for free. But the thing that hit me there was not only the beauty of the place, but I kept hearing these noises, and I knew it was animals, but I wasn't sure where that noise was coming from, what was going on. And shortly after leaving there, we visited the Fountain of Youth. And it is a tourist trap, but I wanted to see it. And we all know it's just a spring. But the thing that hit me there, it's set up more for children to learn about the history and to interact with the children. But the place was full of, I would say, 30 to 40 peacocks, male peacocks. There were female peacocks, peahens, but the males were all competing for attention of these few females. So there was lots of fanning of feathers, and they sound like tomcats when they're howling and screeching at one another. So the noise I was hearing a mile down the road at the church at the coast was actually, the Fountain of Youth was on the coast as well, and I guess the noise was echoing over the water. It was amazing to be It's not that I haven't seen a peacock before. I've just never seen that many at one place. And to hear the noise and racket of, I guess you would call them the roosters, the male peacocks. But that was just a couple of the things. We do like to try new food, ethnic foods when we're going into a new place. So we tried Cuban food, and that was delicious at a place called the Colombian, and it's in the historic area as well. So I won't bore you with much more of that. I just wanted to hit a couple of the high spots, but just know I had an amazing time. I also toured the Castillo de San Marcos, and it is a castile that's been there, was built by the Spanish there in Florida, in St. Augustine. And I don't know, I'm just putting this out there. This is just something my husband and I like to do when we visit new places, national parks. There's a book, and it's called a passport. It's a collector's edition for your national parks for those of us here in the U.S. And it looks like this. And inside, when you take this with you to a national park, you get a stamp, a date stamp. There are collector stamps as well of the places that you visit. So I marked where there, and it's broken down by regions, the regions of the U.S., the Pacific Northwest, here in the Southeast. And this is the Castillo de San Marcos. So you can collect, there's stickers, certain stickers come out every year. And this book actually ran through 2021, but because it's become popular, they have done a expander pack for it as well. And this is the stamps we got there, and this is where we visited. So this doesn't hold state parks. Now, I do know here in South Carolina, and I assume for the other states, there's also state books. So when you visit some of the state parks, you also have a smaller passport book for that, and we have that as well. But what we also do is we always purchase a patch, and I've just used my grommet, my little crocodile, to put a grommet in them, and we mostly get the patches for the state parks or some of the historic places that are not listed in this book, because they're not all here. And you can see there's that. And then when Jacob and I visited the Sky Bridge in Gatlinburg in November, we picked this up. And then let's see what else we've got in here. This is Brook Green Gardens, which is in Murrells Inlet, South Carolina. And anyway, so we do that. Sometimes we may pick up a pin to commemorate, like the lighthouse in St. Augustine, which we also visited this week, is a historic place, I believe, but is not a national park. So we picked up that pin, and I just thought it was just a fun thing that I would share with you in case you're unaware. There's another pin there from earlier this year. I visited Graceland with my mother, which is Elvis Presley's birth home, as well as his birthplace. That's there. But anyway, this is just a little something that we keep in the trunk of our car, so that when we travel somewhere, we get another passport to that place. So there's that. And what else did we do? I've gotten a couple of things in the mail back to the stitching. So you know, this is my red letter Christmas year. So I ordered another Prairie Schooler that I did not have, and this is the Christmas alphabet. And I thought I would stitch this, but I also know that I've got little Evie coming. I could do her name and with the Christmas alphabet and those kind of things. So I also bought a piece of fabric, and I bought the khaki Davos, which I love to do the Prairie Schoolers on. It's what the Santas call for. This one doesn't call for the khaki Davos, but I kind of want everything to be similar, the same. So I bought another piece of that. And I've had people ask me about where I get this. I order mine on 123 Stitch. I'm sure that's not the only place that you can get it, but it's where I order it. Again, it's 32 count, it's 18 count, but I stitch it over one because it's an even weave fabric, and I stitch it over one with 2 strands, which is how I've been doing my Santas. Did I finish my Santas up that I've talked about for the past 2 weekends? No, I did not. They're still right where I left them. on the table. Everything's ready to go. For the most part, I need to cut. I think I'm going to cut the mats again. I cut them in one way so that I could frou-frou them up. Not frou-frou is not the right word, but finish them in one way, and I've changed my mind, so I've got to cut that. But other than that, everything's ready to go. But in addition to buying the Prairie Schooler piece, I also bought another Santa. I'm going to try to, like so many of you have done, I'm going to try to collect them. So I'm missing quite a bit of them, and I thought each time I order a new pattern, I'll grab another that I don't have. So I think I'm going to get me a notebook and jot down, because you know some of the patterns you can buy, like I think they're called Santa Revisited, 1, 2, 3, however many there are, and there's multiple Santas in those leaflets. They've been reprinted as well, so I think I've got 1 or 2, and so I need to pull those out, like I said, so that I can jot down which ones I have and which ones I need. But this one is 2019, so I have 20, 21, and 22, and I did not have 19, so I ordered that one. And a sweet Flosstube friend, when I did one of my most recent videos about La-Di-Da, told me that she had recently stitched this piece. So I took a look, realized I didn't have it, realized I like it and I want to do that, and I ordered La-Di-Da ABCD. Now the linen it calls for is Havana by Weeks Dye Works. I could not, 1, 2, 3 Stitch did not have that, and I could tell that this picture was not as vibrant as Havana is. So I knew the color on the photo of the pattern was off. And I couldn't find it on 1, 2, 3. So I jumped out, and I think this is, I know the color is Sahara. It's a 36 count Sahara Edinburgh linen. And this is, in my mind, maybe a little more saturated, but similar to the Havana by Weeks Dye Works. So I'm going to stitch it and see the difference between the pattern picture and this. And if you've stitched with Havana before, it is very vibrant, just not quite as saturated as this one, but this picture's off. So I think this one calls for, what color does it say? Using 1 strand of needlepoint silk over, it's 310. So that's what I was going to say. I was going to stitch it in black, but it calls for black. So I'm going to use 310 to stitch it, and maybe that'll be my next La-Di-Da start. We'll see. So today, my local stitch group had a get-together at a local inn. It's about an hour from me. But we got together, and there was a lady that brought her traveling shop there. So I had the opportunity to see some fabrics and some new to me things. And I picked up a couple things I want to share. Now, one of them I'm sure you've seen, because I've seen it here on Flosstube. But I think this was the Samplers Not Forgotten kit from last year, the Floral Heart kit. So everything you need is inside: the stitching fabric, the finishing fabric, the threads. I'm not sure about the needle, but basically everything you need to stitch that and finish it up is inside. And I think these are beautiful. She did have one in there, and I don't remember the name of it. It was a heart that I had not seen, but I didn't pick it up. I wanted to look and see. The sale reception wasn't great, but I did it there, and but I did not. I should have looked it up and seen how it looked finished, but the pattern picture just did not draw me in. Okay, what else did I get? Something else small. I got another little thing that's mostly kitted. I just stuck it in here with my pattern. Now, pardon me while I search it out. Is that everything? Okay, I stuck it all in this pattern. So this is a new to me designer, and I don't know if they do cross stitch or just little wool pieces, but this is Under the Garden Moon. And so this pattern gives you everything, you know, everything you need to finish up these little needle books. I chose this one. And so I had a little tiny kit. So I purchased the kit. So you have the fabrics, the threads, everything you need, the beads to do the beading, everything is inside. And she also had some of the Stacy Nash beeswax, what do you call them, waxers. And I went ahead and picked up the bumblebee, which is on a little lobster claw. And I figured once I finished this up, again, as this piece, I'm gonna put the bee. And then it could have been this one. I just like the colors. The bee waxer could have worked better with this piece, but I'm gonna do it my way. There's a sunflower here. Bees love sunflowers too, but I love the color. And again, you can't tell. Can you see that fabric there? It's kind of very lightly stripy, and you can't see that in the picture. And that's one of the reasons I chose this. So there's that. So those are my new things this week. So 2 little kits, 3 if you count the la-di-da, and a pattern. Those are the things I did this week. And other than that, I think that's it. So not too long of a video, relatively short. So this week, I'm going to continue working on my Ship of Life piece. I would like to get that one finished up. I don't have any new starts planned right now. I'm just going to be working towards the finish. Again, thanks so much for visiting with me. Thanks for listening to me ramble on about my vacation. I had such a great time. But I'm going to continue to work on that piece for finish this week. And until next time, take care. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.